So at this point in my life, I'm very, very focused. I'm on a journey called Confident Confidence. I've been at places where I haven't had the most confidence. I feel like I didn't measure up to whatever the standard was of that industry or that entity I was a part of. But I've gotten to a place now, getting close to 50, and I'm not really interested in measuring up. I'm interested in being the measure that people have to measure up to. Confident confidence is where I'm headed, it's what I am, and it's what I intend to take and share with the world. You can do whatever you want, you can be whoever you want, you can accomplish whatever you want. All you need is confident confidence. This is the journey. Come along.
You won't see it on the 6 o'clock news. Slow waiting in the mail, trust you. I woke up and my whole world changed. You're the kind of love that gives me faith. And I believe.
Hello, thank you for joining me for another episode of Building Bridges with Tyrus. You know, there's sometimes in life that things happen and people triumph over what other people may have got stuck in. And today, my guest has had so many major accomplishments, and she has managed to triumph and have victory in so many areas where other folks have been defeated. Let me give you a brief introduction. She's so full, she's so loaded, and I'm so honored that she is here with me today. But let me tell you a little bit about her, all right? My guest today, Dorian Baham, she's a mother, an author, a business owner, philanthropist, creative mind. She's a domestic violence survivor. She also has been featured on some films, one of my favorites, NCIS New Orleans. Oh my God, all right? She's also been featured in Get Hard with Kevin Hart. Oh my goodness. And let me tell you, she is an absolute joy to be around. Her most recent accomplishment was that she has been offered the opportunity to work with the city of New Orleans as a leader, as a mentor, as a coach, as a developer of other stylists. Please help me welcome my guest today, the one and only Miss Dorian Baham. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you so much.
Wow, I know that was like a mouthful.
Yeah, it was.
That was a mouthful,
but thank you so much.
You are amazing. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I am amazed. You know, folks only get this part of the show. They don't get to see the green. They don't get to see the green room. They don't have access to those conversations. So give us a peek of who Dorian is. Give us a peek of who Dorian is.
Dorian is strong. Determined.
Love it.
Takes no for an answer. Constantly dreaming.
Love it.
And never gives in nor gives up.
Love it. Love it. All affirmative.
Yeah.
Constant affirmation, consistent affirmation. What brought you to that place where that you can sit here just with authority and humility all at the same time and just declare, this is who I am. Strong, confident. What brought you to that place where you can have that kind of?
Overcoming triumphs, you know, and never being afraid to share my testimony.
Okay.
And realizing that's what I'm here for. I have a gift where people listen. And, you know, when you're God's favored, you're always going through so much.
For sure.
And keeping it to myself is not helping others.
For sure. And your story is unique. Give us a little bit about that. I know you recently lost your mom, unfortunately, and our condolences to you.
Thank you.
From, of course, my family, the team, and the producers of the show. But tell us a little bit about your journey, your story, because you're right. You do have a loaded testimony that so many individuals need to hear. Can you share a little bit with that with us today?
How far you want to go back?
Let's listen. We can go back as far as you want. But yeah, tell us a little bit. Tell us about your mom, because obviously she was so special to you.
Yeah, my mom, she was actually a hairstylist for many, many years.
Okay.
Close to 50 years, actually. Wow. When she came out of retirement, she opened up a salon really for my sister. And I always had the talent to cut hair and things. Actually, I picked up the clippers when my mom went to prison. My mom went to prison actually on my 8th grade graduation.
Wow.
Yeah, Fed time.
Okay.
So imagine that. We 8th grade graduation, we go out to dinner, and then we got to drop off at the Greyhound station to do federal prison time.
Okay.
At that moment in life, things just changed. You know, so we went from having everything to social services visiting, bringing us clothes that were too small, and I had to grow up really fast.
Okay.
So all those things kind of led up to, remember I said that they brought clothes that were too small and things because there's people that help, but they don't help with the knowledge of asking or the heart of asking you, how do you need help?
Right, for sure.
So when I got older, I wound up starting a program called A Little Help Gives a Lot of Hope. And in New Orleans, right downtown, there's this church, St. Jude. Right next to it, it's a gas station, there's a police station. I started it on my own, so I felt safe being right there. So what I did, I started talking to the homeless guys and girls hanging out. And every Monday, I would go there for 2 years. And I would bring them breakfast. I would listen to their testimonies. Wow. I would ask them their clothes sizes, their shoe sizes. I would set them up on job interviews, even got some of them apartments. Now, you can't help everybody, but the ones who needed that push. So the things that I've been through as a youngster, just as I got older, I just overturned everything into a positive, you know.
Wow, I mean, that's a major turn. That's a major turn for someone who has had that, great trial as a young person. 8th grade, you said?
Yeah.
8th grade, and it's like, bye, Mom, at 8th grade, and now you got strangers bringing you stuff, and you're grateful for it, but it's not really helpful.
Yeah. It's like...
And then you turn it around. You're like, no, I'm going to help people. I'm going to be intentional about helping people.
Right.
That is huge. Many people have stories, right?
Right.
But they're quiet about them. Many people have stories. I'm not sure how many people would sit on air and have this conversation with me saying, hey, my mom went to federal prison.
Right.
You dropped my mom off at the Greyhound bus station.
Right.
How many people would say, yeah, we didn't have what we needed growing up.
Right.
But you're not like, no, I'm telling it. This is what I overcame, and this is what I became.
Right.
So now your mom was a salon owner, stylist.
Yeah.
Now you are a salon owner, stylist, philanthropist, because you give back nonstop. Hence the city reaching out to you to say, hey, can you mentor some folks to do what you're doing? Can you lead the way for some folks? You have written a project that I think it speaks volumes, louder than some of the nonsense we're reading right now. You said, and I'm kind of a little sensitive with this because it's so loaded. Never judge a book by its cover. Never judge. Where's that birthed out of?
Myself. And even your relationships with other people, but mainly from myself. I started off, I'm tattooed. Certain people have a certain way of judging or, prejudging without even getting to know who I am.
For sure.
Or, they know I'm tough, on the outside, but then I am tough on the inside, but I'm human.
Yes.
And so, they don't expect certain things to have happened to me. Because the exterior shows this toughness.
Right.
But in reality, I've been through a lot of tough situations, you know. So
tough situations. Give us, I know we talked about Mom, we saw Mom. Give us another tough situation that you don't mind sharing on air today.
No, well, later on, we could fast forward to domestic violence. And that was the reason for never judge a book by its cover, because I actually married a guy that I was friends with years prior to me later dating him again and marrying him eventually. On the outside, he was a great guy, a guy that everybody wanted and was like, oh my God, he's so great for you. But I always worked a lot. I've always been pulled in different directions, so I never really got to spend time to see who he actually was beneath that.
Right.
And it's like never judge a book by its cover is actually just a brief story about my biography and my upcoming, my mistakes, my triumphs, my testimonies, my overcomings, but then again about this particular experience with how the domestic violence occurred.
Wow. So you're talking about, you wrote a book, you can't judge a book by its cover. So while the person's great on the outside, looking good, you know, they don't know what you've survived, they don't know what you've endured. They also don't know. They don't know what the body art is all about. And you're right. You know, to a traditional mind sometimes that doesn't understand what the ink is all about, doesn't understand, like, hey, why would you write on you? You know, because growing up, we were told, my grandmother used to tell me, do not write on yourself. I don't know if your grandparents would say,
but, I got in trouble for that many times.
You sit in school and you just kind of write on yourself, like, no, you get lead poisoning, you don't write on yourself, da, da, da. And now it has become such a great career. It's a work of art, and so many people have it. But that thing, don't judge a book by its cover, they don't understand the layers that are under the writing. They don't understand. So with that, you make a statement that I absolutely love. I absolutely love this statement. Hear this from Dorian Baham. I view my tattoos as a badge of honor. Aside from loving art itself, I share my stories through my artwork.
Yeah.
That is such a powerful statement.
Thank you.
Because you're not doing it for anyone else.
No.
Other than yourself.
Yeah.
Some of your stories, and I'm looking, I can't read every story, but you can tell there's a reason for everything. What is your greatest story on?
And see, that's the exact reaction that I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I communicate with everybody. I want to talk and touch everyone, and I just can't sometimes. Sometimes you have those days where you're not in that mood. Okay. But the tattoos is the conversation piece.
Wow.
You know, and they stop and they're like, oh my God, you're so tired. What is that? Just like you asked.
Yes.
And I can go to explaining things like this is a bird, and when the bird with their wings open, purple symbolizes purple ribbon, domestic violence. A bird with their wings open means freedom. So I escape myself from that.
Love it.
I have clients that I've touched who overcame breast cancer. So that explains, no, I'm not violent. It's just the gun killing domestic violence, the ribbon.
Okay.
So everything has a significance and is heartfelt and meaningful.
I love it. I love it. We're gonna head to break, Dorian. And after we come back from break, we're gonna talk some more about your books. When life happens to the best of us.
Okay.
I really want to talk about that a little bit and just give our viewers some hope, some inspiration, some tools of how they can overcome and be amazing like you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
A quick word from our sponsors, Hinton Cares Foundation. They are our sponsors today. They are an organization that provides emotional support to families dealing with childhood cancer.
See it on the 6 o'clock news.
I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who contributes to Hinton Cares Foundation. Your donations make it possible to do what we do. We feed so many families that are here that are having a very challenging time, but they can come to a nice, warm Sunday dinner. And you, because of your generosity, that happened for so many great people here at Ronald McDonald House in Durham, North Carolina. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Sunrise lights up another day.
Wow, thank you so much. Listen, if you want to know more about Hinton Cares Organization, you want to hop on to hintoncaresorganization.org. You'll be able to see some of the great work that we're doing. We not only provide emotional support, but we provide care packages. We feed at extended stays where families are there for a long time because their children are dealing with cancer. We bring smiles, we bring joy, we bring resources. So if you want to be a part of that and you want to help, but you don't know how to get involved, hop on to hintoncaresorganization.org and please become a part of what we're doing. All right, Dorian is here, and let me tell you, this is heartwarming. Part of the connection to you that I feel is I was a child who watched domestic violence for years, probably until I was a teenager. I watched women get beat in ways they shouldn't have.
Wow.
They were grown women getting beat by belts, grown women being thrown down steps, grown women being, and not the same women. I've watched
Right.
this multiple women, and I often wondered, like, wow, why do they allow him to do this to them? Like,
Right.
why don't they run away from him? Like, why don't they get away from him? But then he'd show up and they'd be there on his arm smiling. I watched one woman get beat so bad she left in an ambulance.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really serious. I watched her, and I was just like, why? Like, why would you do that? So to hear your story
Yeah.
about domestic violence, the fact that you have survived, thank God you lived, and you have your beautiful daughter. She
Thank
is so
you.
pretty.
Thank
your
you.
beautiful daughter who is matriculating through school, and
Yeah.
I know you're a proud mom. You
I
have
am.
to be. I watched
Very
her
proud.
interview. Oh my God, with you and your daughter. And if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, I would encourage you to hop on YouTube. It's Skin Deep.
Yeah, the Skin Deep.
Dorian Baham.
YouTube and Instagram as well.
And Instagram as well. You want to hop on and check that out. But look, I want to talk about this book that Dorian wrote, that life happens to the best of us.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Yeah, that's a true statement, of course.
Life happens. Give me a little bit of that. I mean, I know we can't go through the whole book.
Right.
But what is the inspiration? Life happens to the best of us. What are we talking about here when life happening? Because life happening for one could be different from life happening for another.
Well, you know, when you try really hard, life happens. When you're on a positive track, life happens. When you're following God's word, life is happening to you. People think that doing so and being positive and being on the right track, everything is going to be peaches and cream. It's like the worst of the worst comes to you to see how strong your faith is.
Wow.
And life happens to the best of us is actually stories of people that I've met along the way, helping the homeless.
Dang.
Even stories of a client or two of mine in New Orleans is fictionalized a little bit.
Okay.
But the basis of it is like 5 short stories, and their beginning and their end, and how prayer got them through it.
Wow. Now you opened this up, and this is, ooh, I mean, your chapter 1, the first chapter, you say broken trust. Where are you going with that? Broken trust. I mean, we are, of course, obvious. Oh, broken trust is broken trust. But what made you write from that angle?
I was raped at 17,
Oh, wow.
and it was actually a date rape.
Okay.
And it was a guy who I dated, the family loved, and everybody knew him and things like that, and I thought I trusted him. And I grew up tomboyish and everything. And it was like once I started developing, coming into myself at like 15, 16 years old, I started wearing more fitted clothes and stuff like that, you know. And the first time I wore a dress, went out on a date, and that was it. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
Wow.
So that's where broken trust came from, that story along, and just people along the way that you think you know,
You think
and
you know.
you think you trust,
You think you know.
and, you know, that isn't reciprocated.
Wow. And your major takeaway from that, of course, is not that you're a bad person, not that you're doing anything wrong, because that's someone taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
But your takeaway to someone who is really might have to deal with that now, if we be honest.
Yeah.
Because people are wearing less and less.
Right.
People are wearing less and less. Clothing is more fitted. It's easier to find something fitted than it is to find something loose, honestly.
And I think it's a lot of insecurities. And you find your security in other ways. I realize a lot of people don't compliment much unless it's revealing or some kind of way like that, you know. And there's a lot of women that take that kind of abuse because they're not getting the confidence or the compliments or being reminded of their worth, you know, along the way.
So then how do you speak to that, Dorian? Because you are a person who has experienced, and I don't know if there's so much levels to abuse, but different phases of abuse.
Yeah.
Okay, so different phases of abuse. How do you speak to that? How do you help a person who's dealing with it? Because what I do find is, even with the domestic violence piece, that a person that has been abused can potentially continue to be abused just in different ways.
Right.
So it's domestic violence, okay, we're not being violent anymore, but now we have some mind games. Now
Verbal
we're going to be
abuse and-
mentally abusive and
yeah.
verbally abusive. And how would a person overcome that? Because you are very strong, you give a lot, You show a lot, you teach a lot, you train a lot. I mean, you have made a major impact in your city. The fact that they honor you, they respect your voice. What is it that you can say to that teenage girl right now who's like, oh my God, or a mother that's watching who's dealing with a teenage girl and they're not able to identify these signs that child is being abused?
Right.
What do you say to that? What do you say to the mother? Let's talk to the mother first. What do you say to them?
Moms have to watch their delivery.
Okay.
You have to watch your delivery and your emotions when your kid is opening up to you to tell you certain things. I know sometimes you want to be, oh my God, don't tell me that, but at the end of the day, those things will start closing doors for them to be open to you. You know, and that's mainly it with that, to be open with the, you know, and just watch your delivery when you have to open up to have these conversations of seriousness and stuff with your kids, and pay more attention.
That's good.
You know, just pay a little bit more attention. I know it's hard, and especially as single moms, you work, you're trying to get yourself together, you're dealing with your own relationships and problems, and, you know, but you still, that's your responsibility to pay attention.
Pay attention, listen, be open,
Yeah.
non-judgmental conversations.
Yeah.
Let them grow and be who they are.
Yeah.
Just guide them, it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah.
Guide them a little bit along
Yeah.
the way. But I guess even with guidance, they have to be careful, right?
They still do, yeah. Like my daughter, she's, I also noticed too, like even with me being so independent and things like that, and you can go either way with it, how they receive it, but I think just talking about it, being open to hear their thoughts and how they're receiving it,
Right.
you know, it'll help correct the situation. Sometimes we say what we have to say and we don't listen to their responses to know how they're understanding it.
Right.
And even with being open with my relationships, I thought I was doing a good thing, but I realized, like, she's 19, it's good, but she's not dating. She doesn't have patience for anyone that gets in her way. It's a great thing, but I also
Right.
want her to have some type of experience. You know, I'm not pushing her into it, but she's just tough.
But look, she's 19.
She's 19. She
got
doesn't
a whole
need it.
life.
She doesn't need it.
She's got a whole life.
She has a whole life, but I could see sometimes when her friends are dating or guys just put her in a friend zone, she gets a little like, what's wrong with me?
Listen,
You know?
she is too beautiful.
She is.
She's doing her education, getting her education, completing, matriculating, going up. She's going to be all the way up in
Right.
those. But you know what? We probably have to, as a parent myself, you know, my daughter's grown and married, and my son, and then my baby boy,
Yeah.
and then we have our bonus children. One thing I am grateful of is the relationships that they missed.
Yeah,
Because my daughter could have ended up in relationships where it was abusive.
right.
My sons could have ended up in relationships where they were being abused, or they could have tried to practice something that they've never seen in my house.
Right.
So we have to be thankful for what they're being protected
I'm very
from.
thank you. I don't want to misconstrue that.
and then we'll guide her towards love and prepare her heart to open up for love.
Right.
Look, this is what I love too. You also say that home is where the heart is. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that a little bit. Home is where the heart is. We hear that. I've heard it forever. But what do you mean by when you talk about it in your book?
It doesn't matter how you're living, where you're living. It's all about the love and the support that's under that, you know, that building or wherever you're residing at. The people that love you, that encourage you, that build you up and not tear you down, that are willing to be open and understanding of what you're going through, where you've been, you know, and treat you as such. So that's real love, you
That's
know.
real love.
That's unconditional love, and that feels like home, you know.
That's good. Because you know what? The funny part is there are a lot of people who feel like their house is not a home because of where it is, geographical location.
Right.
It's like, oh my God, I don't live downtown with everybody else. Or I don't live in the suburbs, and I don't live here, and they don't feel like they have a home. But it sounds like you're telling folks to appreciate the space you have.
Yeah.
Make the best of it. Love the space that you have. Love the people that are in the space with you.
Yeah,
If you don't, get rid of them or get out of the space with them and get into spaces with people that you love. Man, there's so much. Oh my God.
We could talk all day.
We could talk all day. We can talk all day. Here's the purpose of Building Bridges with Tyrus is that we want to build bridges, right? We want to make connections. You have overcome and you have done some amazing things, and you continue to do them.
Thank you.
Would you just take a few minutes and just talk to the camera and talk to that young lady. She might be 25, she might be 35, she might be 40, she might even be 45, 50. And she's thinking, I want to do what she did. Would you just take maybe a minute or so and give a word of encouragement to that young lady?
Okay.
Look right at your camera and go for it.
All right. Hello, ladies. I just want to take a moment to encourage you to remember who you are. Remind yourself of your worth. Pray a whole lot. Just continuously pray. Go exactly off of how you're feeling about things, man. If you're not feeling comfortable in a situation, you know, if you see something, say something, even if it's a friend or a family member that's going through something that's physical abuse or mental or emotional abuse. And it's definitely okay to get counseling, man, you know. You self-destruct when you keep everything in, and there's no growth in that. There's no healing to that. And there's not a perfect person out here. So don't be afraid to tell people who you are, what you're going through, and that you need help.
Wow, thank you, Dorian. It's amazing because there are so many people that are going to hear your story, hear your testimony of how you just survived.
Yeah.
You know, it's so interesting when you read some statistics how many domestic violence cases end up in death.
Right.
But you have lived, you have triumphed, you raising your daughter, you starting businesses all over the country. We're in a whole different state than where your businesses are, where your efforts are. We're in a whole different state, and you are making a move here. I mean, you are leaving your print. I mean, folks are calling your name, and I'm in a totally different place talking to a young man about how much he admires you. And I want you to know that your efforts are not wasted. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being a voice. My mom is gone. She's no longer in the earth. But thank you for being that woman who has survived.
Yeah.
And you're not scared. You're not ashamed to tell. And how many lives will be saved by just you saying, hey, ladies, no, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can make it. How many children's life will be saved or changed when you give them clothes that actually fit and they can actually fit in when they have to go to school? Nobody knows where they live.
Right.
Nobody knows where they're going back to, but when they show up, they look like everybody else, and that's all at your hand.
Yeah.
So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to just seeing more. I'm sure you'll be showing up in more movies and scenes and things of that nature. I just hope you don't forget little old me back here on the TV
I
set.
appreciate you. What you're doing here is totally awesome.
We're building bridges.
Yes.
We are building bridges.
You are.
So thank you, Dorian. I appreciate that. Look, friends, I thank you so much for watching today. Dorian Baham, her information has been on the screen, and we'll put it up on the screen again for you. Make sure that you connect with her via social media. Make sure you check her website out. Grab a copy of both of her resources. And if you're not able to get both of them, the one you definitely need to get is Never Judge a Book by its cover. If you don't get the other one, that life happens, make sure you get that book, Never Judge a Book by its cover. Listen, I believe that all of us have stories, and what makes us different is that we are willing to open up our mouths, tell our story, and build the bridge. Until next time, let's build this bridge.